the problems.
And again, thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed that editorial from Johnny Hughes, Johnny's Bite, with the latest as we have it. Please make sure you get interactive as always. And we have TV3 Ghana. So go there, share the stream. Let's have some great conversations. We have 2 issues to talk about, but also let's remind you we have cash out. It goes with the short code *439#. And with *439#, it means that you have to get money credited into your mobile money account. And as much as possible, please make sure that when you choose TV3, you also increase the number of stakes you have. And then also means that you get money credited into your mobile money account by increasing your chances when we do the draw. It's the birthday of a sweet mother of mine. And of course, not my real mother, but my adopted mother. So let me just say a happy birthday to you. And it's going to Hajia Fatih Seidu Tamburo. You're the executive director of the Sun Foundation. You're based in the northern region, working for the whole of the northern Ghana. And it's coming from your husband, the former chief director of the northern region, Alhaji Al-Hassan Isahaku, Ansar, your daughter, and the rest of the family as well. I wish you all the best. Hajia Fatih Seidu Tamburo. You live in Tamale, to be more specific. I wish you all the best for the day as well. And for those who have joined us, we're grateful. Please share the stream. I have Abraham Amaliba. Abraham Amaliba, how are you?
Could have been better, but I'm okay. The Black Stars are a problem.
Your headache, eh?
They should know that they are carrying the hopes of more than 30 million Ghanaians. Look at yesterday's game. Tap-ins, just tap in. But you score very difficult goals when you are there. Side. Just tap in.
I'm sure there was the Galamsey effect.
I don't know about that, but they don't drink our water here. Or they came and drank it, that's why. So, you see, they should know, because in our economy now, everything is haywire. It is them who will bring us some hope. And look at the way they are also playing.
Because they wanted a proper pitch. The pitch was done for them.
It was done for them, so now no complaints. But you see, me now, I don't know, because the teams I even support are just not performing.
So what's your club side support?
No, Man U is underperforming. Accra is underperforming. Then look at my Black Stars. Huh? So my weekends are not always good at all.
I support Chelsea, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and then of course the Black Stars. So at least Kumasi Asante Kotoko, but they're doing very well.
Today, what is going to be exciting to me is that I'm joining my Catholic brothers and sisters to do a prayer.
It's today they are doing it, and then they'll walk.
They'll walk to, they'll start from the cathedral, then walk to the Holy Trinity, the church at the Flagstaff House.
That's Christ the King.
Christ the King.
Okay.
Then we'll present some petition to the president at the Flagstaff House. And that's why I'm in a cassock today, what is close to a cassock today.
Jalabia. Anyway, and then also, how are you, sir? A lawyer?
I'm doing well.
Okay, Enoch. Now, Afwakwa also has joined us this morning. Legal practitioner, another lawyer is here. We have 3 lawyers here. You look like you're ready for court. The legal year just resumed, so why are you rushing? I thought... Action Kote. All right, so lawyer Apia Dankwa, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. So we have 2 things. Okay, you wanted to say something? I should go on. We have 2 things to discuss, basically. It's the last working day of the week, so it means that we have to climax it well. I'd wanted to start with the Electoral Commission formally announcing we have over 40,000 polling stations, but it looks like the issues that have been raised by Maliba and all that for the Catholic vigil, so we'll do Galamsey as first. Because there's been some good news. We have to be realistic. The president made some pointed issues to look forward to following the collapse of the labor agitations on their position of the Galamsey menace. So the president had promised that he will increase military presence, including naval boats, to stop mining in water bodies, immediate suspension of mining in forest reserves, and we know that that is being through that legal instrument. So the action itself, in terms of the implementation, has been stopped. We're told we'll find that out subsequently. And then when consequentially you continue, it says tougher prosecution, including 4 courts, all dedicated to illegal mining cases with plans for more. And then asking all presidential candidates to commit to a legal pact to fight illegal mining. And following through that, the president really acceded to that. So the deployment of the military has been swift. Already a number of actions have been undertaken, champ-fines, etc. So now let's give you that dose of it. What was done?
This is the laziest approach to combating any risk or threats to national security. You are saying that the report is that some 18 champ-fans and a certain number of heavy-duty pumping machines have been destroyed.
Yes.
What is the figure that over the 8 years, the state of Ghana has used intelligence to map out the Galamsey environment, to know how many people in which groups, on which river bodies, in which forest reserves are operating? Without that benchmark, you cannot actually determine that 18 in the first day is anything to write home about, because we don't have a baseline against which we want to measure this. That's the first point. The second point is that what is the time frame that the government is dealing with? Let's assume that in the short term we are dealing with 6 months. What political objectives have been set for the armed forces? That by 6 months, you should have destroyed 10% of champ-fans numbering 50,000, or 20% of caterpillars numbering 1 million. You should have arrested X thousands of, illegal miners who are estimated to number XYZ. Now, I'm really baffled that with all the resources that we have invested in the state of Ghana, precisely in this government, with all the technologies that are being acquired for spying on political opponents, the state of Ghana cannot deploy resources to map out the Galamsey environment, so that today the government should have presented that with a better plan. Now, what we have is not a plan. It's just a political gimmick.
Okay, so the Joint Task Force has a clear and unambiguous mission of clearing all our water bodies of mining activities. And at this time, we are not looking at whether the person has the required documents or not. So far as you are on our water bodies or you are along the water bodies, you are our target. We are trying to clear all of them from our water bodies to make sure that our water bodies return to the normal color that we are all looking for.
How long are you going to be stationed within this district?
Okay, so the immediate assignment is estimated to last for about 2 weeks. Then after that, we'll know what to do next.
So that has been done. Lawyer Afokwa, it means that straight away. So how many men have been deployed, and what's the plan like? Because the colonel or the lieutenant colonel says that there's a pinpoint approach that will be used.
Let me say a very good morning to yourself and to my senior learned friends on the platform, and extend the greetings of His Excellency the Vice President, who is also the President in waiting of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to the good people of Ghana. In fact, he is moving across the length and breadth of this country in all humility and canvassing for support of the good people of Ghana to propel him into the presidency as president to lead Ghana.
Give an invoice.
Or sit down.
Advertising for what's his name? Bawumia.
He's allowed.
Oh. Well,
Please go ahead. DMV is possible. 2024.
See, are you intimidated? You see,
He says you are intimidated.
You see, anytime our brothers in the NDC hear the name Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, they catch cold. They are in a state of catharsis. And I'm not surprised that Leonard Senior is exhibiting the same symptoms on this on this platform. Roland, Dr. Bawumia will be president come December 7th, 2024. And there is nothing that will change what God has destined to happen in this republic. It is possible, like you rightly mentioned. Roland, on the issue of the illegal mining mandates and the resumption of the fight against illegal mining, i.e. Galamsey on our water bodies and in our forest reserves, and the president acceding to the revocation of LI 2462 that allows mining in the forest reserves, it's a good thing to do. I believe that the intended strike of organized labor that was announced a week ago apparently was brought to a halt because of the actions that have been taken by the president in helping curb this menace of illegal mining and to enhance the restoration of our water bodies, lowering the turbidity levels of our various water bodies that have been depleted to this. This is an interim measure. I have always maintained that successive governments in the Fourth Republic have always used militarization and brute force in the fight against illegal mining. It has yielded not much results that we are all looking for. Like Colonel Tinado rightly mentioned, that the interim operation is for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks...
So this fight is only a 2 week?
No, that is what the Colonel, who is the commanding officer of the operation, halt. The resumption of operation, clearing the illegal mining menace on our water bodies and our forest reserves is for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, probably they will be stationed along...
But what's the plan? Since you are getting the direct information.
In terms of military operations, it is the security officials that have their operational schemes and their operational drawings. This is not for public consumption because in operational settings, they have an operational schedule and they are following through to that. And as far as raiding our water bodies of the illegal mining menace is concerned, it's for 2 weeks, and our forest reserves, and from there, probably they will be stationed along the various areas to be able to monitor and ensure that our brothers and sisters will not come back to the field. Last time I was here with you, I mentioned that President Rawlings used the same brute force, President Kufuor used the same brute force of militarization, President John Evans Atta Mills used similar force, President John Dramani Mahama in 2013 used the same brute force and militarization in setting up the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. Nana Akufo-Addo used an enhanced measures of militarization, setting up of Operation Vanguard, Operation Hot 1, 2, and the likes.
How many operations have been set up? Operation 1,
Operation Vanguard. The military were withdrawn, okay, and the police handed over to
and
the police.
Hot.
The Operation Hot 1, Hot 2, and currently, if this is
there was Galamsey Stop 2. Operation
Galamsey Stop 2 in addition. And
so
with all these brute force,
so this is the fifth one.
Absolutely, and it's still yielding it's not yielding the necessary results that we are all looking for as a country. It comes to the fact that there is something that we need to do, and this is why I am all for the policy proposition of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in these presidential elections. I believe that Enoch Afakwa coming from a mining community and knowing the various levels of...
You come from a mining community?
I was born and bred in Obuasi. I was born...
So you're a miner? You have a mining company?
I don't have a mining company, but I am someone...
Have you operated a mining concession before?
I haven't. I am someone from a mining community, and I understand the rudiments of this enterprise that they go in. You see, those sitting on the water bodies called to that you saw the military burning and pulling off this Ghana-made dredging boats, sit on the water bodies and pollute the water bodies daily. As an environmental scientist myself, we know that water has a way of regenerating itself because of biological demands in these water bodies. And once the pollutants exceed the BOD of every water, then the contamination becomes perennial. It can't regenerate back. But once you are able to stop the pollutants, the constant pollution of the water bodies, and the biological housing demand of these water bodies exceed the pollution, then it has a way of replenishing and regenerating itself and restoring its quality in that system. That is what in the coming 2 weeks, if the military are able to rid off this illegal miners sitting on our water bodies, we'll be able to see the water regenerate and the turbidity levels drop in that regard. It comes to show that these our brothers and sisters in this enterprise need capital injection in their way of doing things.
To do what?
Yes, when they have legal concessions. You know, people have legal concessions, license concessions from the Minerals Commission, from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, but they don't have the capital adequacy to be able to invest in this one. And that they partner with foreigners to be able to finance the operations, which is illegal. Because the Mining and Minerals Act of 2006, 703, category states that small-scale mining is the preserve of Ghanaians. So once it is the preserve of Ghanaians, no foreigner has a stake in the small-scale mining sector. So if you have a legitimate small-scale mining license and you involve foreigners in mining, then it means that you are engaging in illegality. Another illegality is this small China people. We call them small China. Those our brothers and sisters, they are local Ghanaians. But the method they use, they call it small China because they bring out the
you seem to know the terms very well.
I am from a mining town.
Yes, sir.
I have stated this. I am from a mining town. And this small China they use these pumping machines. After the excavators have brought up the sand or the particles or the gravel pack, they use them in shooting them directly with
the way you are saying is like
ground.
You know.
I know.
Have you undertaken mining before?
I haven't, but I'm telling you, I'm from a mining town, and I am an environmental scientist. I have done a lot of research in this. My first degree research was in mining. My international relations master's degree was on illegal mining and foreigners participation in this sort of enterprise. So I've done extensive research in this sector, and I understand the rudiments of it. So when people are jamming everything on board and trying to lash it out, we need to understand it. What Dr. Baobia is proposing is that when those using these pumping machines and pumping these sediments back into the river bodies need capital, because once they get the capital and they invest well, they engage in sustainable mining. Absolutely. Once the mineral resource the Natural Resource Bank is established to fund this mandate, no one will be giving capital without due process. And once you have a mining license and you are going to mine responsibly, then you get government support or financial support to be able to procure equipment to be able to mine responsibly and sustainably. I believe the interim measures that government is undertaking is to sustain the devastation that is going on, to curb it in the short term. But in the medium term, we need to rethink how we can inject capital into the system, make sure that we convert abandoned mining pits into community mining schemes to be able to employ more and more people, so that we create jobs, we create wealth, and get benefit for our country, so that we own our natural resources as a people. Again, once those with legitimate licenses also need capital to be able to buy equipment, so that we can also inject capital in that sector, taking away the foreigners' participation in that sector. That if you are a foreigner and you want to do this, you go through the GIPC process of bringing in the liquid that you want, come and take a large-scale mining concession, go through the rudiments and the processes that Goldfields Ghana Limited, Newmont and Ashanti Goldfields and the big firms are doing, so that you also operate in that sector. Okay. I believe that the president should be applauded that he signaled that LI 2423 will be sent back to Parliament for Parliament to decide on its revocation. That is a good step to do. We should also commend the president again for listening to the plight of the ordinary people and assuring the good people of Ghana in the renewed fight against illegal mining, with showing the level of commitment that he's shown recently. Not thinking about elections, but thinking about our country and the people of this country.
I have loved your exposition, because even though we've talked about Galamsey before, you've never spoken so knowledgeably about the sector like today, and I think I love that.
You don't really give me the chance to be able to explain, and you can give us chance, and we all go into this matter,
because your knowledge, you should work for the Minerals Commission,
so that we all understand the rudiments.
What do you make of all this? Because it looks like a very direct countermeasure which could have been undertaken over the last 2 years, because from the last that I checked, by 2022 the Ghana Water Company was complaining about the turbidity levels, etc. And all of a sudden, we have this ongoing, and it had to take a lot of pressure for government to do this. What do you make of this, lawyer?
So let me wish you lovely viewers a good morning. Yeah. Wish my own brother, so Abankwa was a very good friend. It's still a very good friend of mine when we were in MPP. When I was in MPP.
When you were in MPP, he's your friend?
He's still my very good friend, yeah.
You guys are friends?
Yeah, very, very good friends. And my own senior Amaliba, who was my senior in Legon Faculty of Law and then also at the law school. Always a pleasure. In spite of the knowledge exhibited by my brother here, I must disagree vehemently with some very key things he said, which I think won't help us. he seems to suggest that one of the reasons why Galamsey or people are mining in the river bodies is because of lack of capital. I find that statement very worrying because excavators and caterpillars require a lot of capital. And so what really has happened is because of their exposure to capital, they've taken the illegal mining to a devastating level. Because if my brother here really grew up in Obuasi, they must understand that in those days, when what was called Galamsey was simply people going to the tailings dam. Some people going to the tailings dam because that's the tailings dam. Because when Kufuor was fighting against Galamsey, he was fighting against people stealing from the tailings dam, not digging deadly pits.
So they were exploiting the already used,
exactly, because
the abandoned places of the regular mining.
Galamsey went into these crazy levels after 2012, when really people who have been granted all manner of licenses, license prospective, decided to use the licenses in a manner different from. Now, the major reason why we failed in the fight against Galamsey is a fundamental lack of commitment to just enforce the laws. Yeah, it's a fundamental lack of commitment to just enforce the laws. And what our president is doing and the banning of the, once again, is the quintessential Nanados doing something to represent something.
I don't know. You mean he's doing Fiegum Patogu?
Yeah, he's doing something to represent something. No commitment. Because you asked a very good question, because if really there was commitment, since about 2018, we formed the Interministerial Committee. What has the president done, even in the light of the report that was granted him? Also, my brother made a very good point about, as in my brother here, about the long-term strategy, because it's a very short-term fight. Now, what's the long-term strategy? Now, to get and understand the long-term strategy is to understand and appreciate why we are where we are at the moment. Because once again, I've said here that when it comes to the issue of Galamsey, I don't think the issue has to do with what's called lack of the laws or the policies. Because there's a clear policy, a clear regime concerning how our minerals are to be utilized. You understand? You are simply not supposed to mine on river bodies. Ordinarily, and he's an environmentalist, like he's saying, if you love the environment, that you should not even consider allowing mining in forest reserves. You understand? Enforce the law.
So what you're saying is that the prerequisites or the guidelines and the watchword for you taking that prospective license or that license itself is for you to mine sustainably.
The regime, that's what I say, the regime. There's really the only issue I have with the regime is I think that the punishment regime where people have flouted the law is too lenient because of the effect of mining unsustainably, like we are all seeing now. That 10 years is, we should be thinking about life imprisonment, something that is deterrent enough to deter people from breaching the law. Because the Galamsey issue is simply a criminal act. And when I talk about criminal act, I don't know why we are thinking about negotiating with criminals. Yeah, just enforce the law. Just, you see, one of the fundamental issues is weaknesses within the Minerals Commission, the institutions that are meant to regulate mining. So you take the Forestry Commission, for example. They have forestry guards also who are armed. Should we not be thinking about going the same route with Minerals Commission? Yeah. No, because if it will be effective, because if at the end of the day, you when it comes to the protection of our forestry resources, and even that is renewable. The forestry resources are even renewable. Now, these are not renewable, and beyond the fact that they are not renewable, if we allow them to be exploited in an unsustainable manner like it's happening, we all know the consequence. All of our lives will be at peril. Now, because of the impact of unregulated mining and because of the impact of a failure to enforce the law, to monitor and enforce the law, I think we need to look at the institutions that have been mandated by law to more or less regulate mining. And I'm saying that unless and until we have something similar to what the Forestry Commission has, proper guards, Mineral Commission guards, who will guard a man, yes, and go around and monitor and be given the power.
You know why I'm laughing?
Yeah, I understand. Then because then and beyond that, commitment from the politicians. Because I know among the things listed is the president saying that he wants the presidential candidates to
sign a pact.
And that is shocking. Because one of
so
the
it means he wants John Mahama, Alan, and everybody to sign a pact whilst he is the executive president.
No, but that is even it means that he doesn't even understand the job of the president. Because one of the fundamental jobs of the president is to protect, enforce, you understand, defend the Constitution of Ghana, defend the laws of Ghana. So if you are going to sign a pact, if you require that people sign pacts, that suggests that they are going to do the job they are campaigning, then there's a problem. But you see, it's a symptom of one of the fundamental issues in our politics. The fact that our politicians just want the power. They just want the power. They don't want to work. Because Alan Chamantin doesn't need to sign any pact to show commitment to enforcing the law.
So it means Alan will not sign?
He doesn't need to sign. Because my argument is that you are campaigning to be granted a job. Now, per the job, one of the fundamental jobs that you ought to do as a president, one, is to protect, defend the laws of Ghana. You understand? Two, you are a trustee, and because you be a trustee, and because you be a trustee, a fiduciary duty will be placed on you. There'll be an obligation on you to protect. So if you are saying that they require a pact, that means that you yourself, one, the job that we gave you slept, and clearly he slept. And two, you do not believe, or you think that that reason of the new patriotic party that one of the reasons why we won't fight Galamsey is because whilst we are fighting, so while the president is doing his job as president, he thinks that he won't do that job because somebody who wants to be president will be undermining. But you took an oath to do that job. You took an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of Ghana. You took an oath to dedicate yourself to the well-being of the people of Ghana. Must you, the thought that people must sign pacts to do the job for which you are campaigning for us to grant you is a problem. And it is a symptom of the lack of commitment on the part of politicians to do the job for which they campaign. And I'm saying that right now, if it is clear for me, it is beyond contestation that for the majority of our politicians, the reason why political authority in this country is failing, that one of the reasons why political authority is losing credibility is because they just want the power. They just want the power. They want power. They want political authority, but they do not want to work. Because if they really want to work, and that's why you see a lot of confusion in the proposed solutions in the fight against Galamsey. Alan Chamantin is saying that one, he's going to enforce the law. He said he's going to ban. He says ideally we should have a moratorium. Exactly, and he's also saying that he's going to look at the regime itself, so that where you flout the law on unregulated mining and you are caught, it's not about 10 years. Life imprisonment, unless we find something very deterrent, unless we are willing to enforce the law, simply enforce the law, then this battle against Galamsey will be lost. I like the way you point the table pinpointly. Yeah, because anyway, Dr. Jonathan Asantiotre is joining us from Cape Coast. He lectures with the UCC, but also is a political analyst. And thank you for joining us. I'll be with you shortly. Let me just see you, and then we'll... Thank you. Okay. I hope you're well. So just be on. So just to summarize what Lawyer Appiah Danquah is saying, Lawyer Maleba, he's saying that the president is now trying to get the buy-in of prospective presidents or candidates who want to be prospective presidents before he's able to do a job that he's voted into power to do. What do you make of that? By telling them to sign a pact, among many of the detailed things he wants to do in the interim to resolve the issue.
Good morning to your viewers. But Afokwa says something about Bawumia. And for me, I sometimes sit back and wonder how John Mahama, former President John Mahama, was able to trick the MPP to give us a weak candidate. If it was Alan Chiramate, I can tell these elections would have been difficult. If it were Ken Ajapong, it would have been difficult. But John Mahama's statement made the MPP vote for a Northerner, not because they have the North at heart, but just to dispel John Mahama's statement. And now they provided us with a weak candidate, so we are happy. Now, see, this Galamsey issue, and I heard Afuakwa say we should applaud Akufo-Addo. Why should we applaud Akufo-Addo?
Why not?
What did he do for us to be applauding him? This man put his presidency on the line. And look at the turbidity of our water bodies. And because organized labor, having been bribed, has decided to drop their strike, you say we should applaud Nana Akufo-Addo. For what? For what? For what? Because you have been able to ensure that organized labor, having taken monies from the back, have dropped their demonstration, that means that we should applaud Nana Akufo-Addo. Why? Look, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo alone, as an individual, can fight Galamsey and cut it down to more than 70%.
If he wants?
If he wants. Why am I saying this?
Why is that a conditional statement?
He knows those who are doing the Galamsey. He knows them by name. He knows Wuntumi. And he knows to the extent that he went out to praise Wuntumi and say he wasn't doing Galamsey. His ministers, DCEs, are neck deep in this Galamsey conundrum. And that's how come it's difficult for the party to fight Galamsey. You remember Party Hiensika? Recently, you heard their health, Dr. Free Ayu, mount the platform to say that they were not going to ban Galamsey. You heard statement from the Atakwa MP. So, if you have government officials, government appointees, neck deep in the Galamsey activity, on what basis will you be calling for presidential candidates to be signing? Is it the presidential candidates who appointed those ministers? So the buck stops with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He's still ready to do it. He's not ready to do it. And so for me, I think that it's a straightforward matter. Apply the laws, like he said, and ensure that persons who are found engaged in Galamsey are punished. I heard this morning that some excavators have been
18
excavators have been bent.
18 chamfines, 10 pumping machines, and then an excavator also bent. So you can see some of the pictures or the interview we showed from that interaction there with what's the colonel's name? Tenabu or
Eric Tenabu.
Mm-hmm.
The question is
Tenadu. Okay.
The question is, having impounded those Galamsey machines, as reported, where are the people operating those Galamsey machines? Where are they? Where are those people? So if you have machines, were the machines there without individuals? Were the machines there without people? So how come that you impounded those machines, but you couldn't arrest the people who were operating the machines? It tells you that they would have given those people tip-off to go, and then the machines will be impounded. The fight against Galamsey is a simple one. Let government show commitment that it is ready to fight it. Let the government look inwards and then deal with some of its own appointees who are engaged in those acts. And for me, Galamsey would have been a thing of the past.
Well, certainly. Dr. Jonathan Santioche, what do you make of this? Now we have a commitment made. We have military people or personnel who have been sent to those areas. That means that it satisfies the key stakeholders, both political, the other stakeholders like labor, and then the generality of the voting public or the public in itself. That's a good thing, right? I mean, policy-wise and strategically.
Well, Roland, let me say good morning to you and to your viewers and colleagues in the studio. I think we are not doing anything different from what we've been doing in the past. It's nothing different, and therefore we will not get any result. If the president is doing this as part of satisfying organized labor and so on and so forth, I think this approach, we've seen that before. I have proposed, if we are really serious about fighting Galamsey, I have given some 5 propositions. First of all, I know small-scale miners believe that they are doing the legal thing and therefore they should be allowed to operate. Yes, but the nation is in crisis. Therefore, we need to attach some kind of importance, more importance than the usual thing that we do. Why am I saying so? It is often said in the local parlance that because we have too many smokes within the system, we do not know who is the right. Yes. Therefore, put a moratorium or a ban, a temporary ban on it, but don't go and sleep. Ask, that's the first. Secondly, ask all miners to evacuate all machines, whether in the water bodies, in the forest, whatever. Everybody should evacuate. Now, you definitely have people who will not do so because they think that they are politically connected. Now, the third thing is that you are now going to use the drone or satellite, get some satellite images to give you real life situation, right, of the forest reserve and that of our water bodies. So you have the data. The fourth thing is that you are now going to allow the military, whether police, joint operation, to go on the very fields that we know. Now, I heard the president admonishing the military that they shouldn't go out there and be influenced. I think that the president is virtually thinking that these soldiers are moral agents, and therefore they should go out there and do the right thing. They have the potential to do the right thing, but do not give them the benefit of the doubt. That is the fourth proposition, and that is that all soldiers, military, police in that operation must have body cams. Everybody must have a body cam on him or herself. The fifth thing is that with this body cam, what is the importance of that? We must have a central digital center where these operations that will be done or that are done through the body cam will be recorded. Therefore, no soldier will have the opportunity of asking questions in order to be influenced. The sixth thing, which is more or less like a query of the president's decision to allow the military. What is the mandate? What is the operational mandate of the military going to the fields? Do we know? Because, for example, when the American military, the armed forces were about to go and capture Osama bin Laden, they were given express instruction. So what is the express instruction or command of the military? Are they going there to shoot and kill? Are they going there to arrest? Are they going there to destroy the machines or so on and so forth? We do not know. Or they are just going there to stop. Now, I heard one colleague in the studio say that by the time you get there, they will have had all the information and they will have left. That's the more reason why, if we really want to fight this particular canker, this is not the approach that we should go with. Yes, it could solve some. It could create some temporary relief for all of us. But in actual fact, the pull and the push factors, when it comes to the Galamsey, you see, are too, for lack of a better word, you just cannot place a finger on. Because you see, this situation is economically driven. and you know that our forests, our water bodies have been devastated. But because of the monetary gains associated with that, that is the main challenge. But the point too is that we need to exist as human beings within the environment that we find ourselves. Therefore, all those who are destroying the environment, not the effect not only today, the effect not only tomorrow, but we are virtually denying the existence of the next generation. And I think that that is murderous. Okay. And so we need to treat this particular issue as a kind of those who are committing murder against the larger population. And that is the best way to go. Okay. Now, you see, if the president had hearkened to the voice of banning, and if he had done so, and he would have had the opportunity of not dealing with colleagues who are MPP. Now, what that would have meant is that if the military is going to the Ashanti region, therefore you don't have to take military who are in Ashanti region or close to Ashanti region. You must take people who have nothing to lose and who are bent on ensuring that the nation, our reserves, the water bodies are protected. Right. I do not know where they are taking them from. Okay. So these are some of the things. If we really want to fight Galamsey, because the commitment on the part of the president, the vice president, and all the the appointees of the president is not there. Because ask yourself, from the early period of last month, that was the time organized labor, UTAG, and co began threatening. What did the president do? Nothing. As if he had not heard it. Then you have the youth going on rampage, and then they are arrested. What about the focus of that particular demonstration? Have we lost it? All and it got to a point, the 11th hour, where organized labor had to chicken out. And that in itself, Roland, that in itself is a lost opportunity, not only for today's politics and the politicians that we allow them to do things that are unthinkable, but we have equally lost the opportunity for tomorrow. All right. Because that is just very unfortunate. Even if we had gone for a strike for just a day or two, I think that the president will have taken organized labor seriously, not only today, but for future president as well. That power, that opportunity is gone just because of some people's vested. So you are saying that for the sake of posterity and a precedent being set, they've lost that opportunity, right? Certainly. All right. So, okay. So I already have a number of people on our stream who seem to love the submissions that have been made, particularly from Dr. Jonathan Santiotre. So Kwesi Pano says that a very intellectual submission from everybody, especially the doctor. And Money, interestingly says they are burning the excavators because they don't want us to trace them and see those that they belong to. Because he says, just like what John Mahama is saying, you tackle the issue being the cause of the issues and are the roots, not those who are just mere perpetrators found on the ground. That leads me to my question. As somebody who is very experienced in this, whether with your mining experiences and all that, if you take a look at what is being done, let's say if we take your concession and we go there, we go and burn this, what then gives me the assurance that if I go and put another chamfine on this at the same spot, I cannot continue to mine, for example?
Yeah, certainly. Like I rightly mentioned, that the successive government in the Fourth Republic has always used militarization in the fight against illegal mining. But the solution, as far as this illegal mining menace is concerned, stands more than this. We have thousands of people who have been convicted and sentenced to prison custodies, serving various jail terms in our prisons as a result of illegal mining. But it is still not deterrent enough, and they are still doing because of the livelihood matter. Roland, what we are seeing today, the renewed fight against illegal mining with an additional deployment of military to clamp down on people mining on our water bodies and our forest reserves. This is an interim measure from government to be able to sustain our environment in the interim. Going forward, we need to rethink as a people
Because we have used this in the Fourth Republic in the last 20, 30, 40 years. This has been the tool that we have been using, and it is not yielding the results that we are talking about. Dr. Ankara was mentioning that he was expecting a total ban. In 2017 to 20...
Dr. Santiochi.
Sorry, Dr. Santiochi. In 2017, March 2017 to I think November 2018 or 2018, there was a total moratorium on all forms of small-scale mining in Ghana.
What was the outcome?
The outcome is what we are seeing today. No,
what was the immediate outcome?
The immediate outcome was that, yes, the water bodies regenerated, our flora and fauna regenerated, the biodiversity began to regenerate. Perfect. But immediately, standardization and all those things, the lifting of the moratorium is what we are all crying back again. So
how come we got here?
Absolutely.
If you are saying there was an outcome being the regeneration of the vegetative cover and the water bodies.
So, this is why I am saying that the policy proposition of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as somebody coming from a mining community, is the way to go. Is that, one, he's proposing two things. And in all the proposals of Dr. Bawumia, I see these two things as the main pillars in the fight against illegal mining or ridding our country of all forms of small-scale mining, illegal small-scale mining is concerned. Two, is to invest more in geological survey to identify more potential gold belts that we can put our people in this sector into, so that they can mine and mine sustainably. If they know that this belt is viable, this belt is richer. Roland, do you know the reason why they still mine along these water bodies? Let the geologists tell you that in this alluvial gold mining, it is the distance close to the water bodies that contains these alluvial deposits, the highest, it's more richer in gold than almost all the other areas. So, and in terms of the licensing regime, in terms of streams, you are to mine not less than 30 meters away from the river body. And miners knowing very well that these deposits, closer to the river bodies and closer to these streams, are the richest, the temptation is that they will find ways of going there because they need the money. But if you are investing in them, giving them the tools they need, the capital to invest in it, and asking them not to go there because it is controlled, they will not go there, and you can be able to control that sort of regime. Because if you are going to rent an excavator to go and do the mining, and you know that going closer away from the river body, you get few gold or few nugget, where lies that at the end of the day, it cannot even pay off your fuel and the rent of your machines. Will you go there? But going close to the stream.
So the panacea is?
The panacea, it's that we all invest in the Mineral Development Bank or accept the Mineral Development Bank proposition for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
That will be after the election.
After the election.
So from now to the election,
now the military,
we cannot do some of these things.
Now the military we are in the need of resources. Let's all face the fact. Now investing in the geological survey of Ghana and taking away the VAT composition as far as geological investigations are concerned and explorations are concerned in Ghana is the way to go, so that we can identify more potential belts. We can get more capital injected into the system so that we can license our people and make sure that they mine sustainably and follow due process as far as the covenants and the tenets of the licensing regimes are concerned is the way to go. If we begin to vilify this sector of ours and allow foreigners to come and take over our natural resources, as has been the rudiment, the regime, as far as our country is concerned from the pre-colonial era up to this time, where like our laws permit that the state Ghana takes a free 10% carried interest in all forms of large-scale mining in Ghana. This is peasant. It's little. Where like the investors take away over 90% of it, it's chicken. The proposition that we begin to take over 100% of our natural resources so that the resources stay with us, the revenue stay with us, capital flies and the likes, we benefit as a country is the way to go. Let us depoliticize the issue of illegal mining. That is why I believe the president is calling for, what do you call it? That all presidential aspirants should sign a pact. Because we've seen it before. During the 2017-2019 fight against illegal mining with the introduction of a moratorium, we saw our brothers, Honorable Amalebe's party going through campaigning in mining communities and mining sites with Kwekubuahe and the likes. I could see one paper and those people following suit and promising the miners that when they come, they are not going to use the military, they are not going to use the police against them, they are going to allow them to mine, they are going to allow them to do these things. And once you are doing this, it is not necessary in character. And this is why we are here today. Roland, we need to all to commit to the fight and regularization of this sector and nip the issue of illegalities in the bud to protect our biodiversity, to protect our water bodies, and to be able to generate the wealth that we need as a country. Look at the number of people in this small-scale mining sector. Millions of people are in this sector. the local economies within these mining communities are benefiting from these undertakings of these mining operations going on. And I believe that it is something that has come to stay because the Ghanaian has a hidden expertise as far as mining is concerned. And no one can stop mining in Ghana. But what we can do is to stop the illegalities associated with mining and make sure that we promote sustainable mining as is being proposed by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And I believe that Ghanaians should buy into the policy proposals, the manifesto proposition of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to be able to ensure that going forward, we move away from the brute force militarization. We are able to condone
You know
our
a gentleman called Dennis.
Dennis from where?
I'm just getting a message from one called Dennis. He said he worked for you on a concession at Inchirife near Wasa Akoriso.
I don't know any Dennis.
Really?
I don't know any Dennis.
Did you operate in Wasa Akoriso?
I don't know the name you are mentioning.
Really? Okay. Dennis, he said he doesn't know you.
So certainly, like I'm mentioning.
All right. You are done.
No, I'm landing.
No, it's okay. I think my question threw you off here. Let's forget about it. Please.
We should follow the policy proposition of Dr. Bambo. And like Senior said that the organized labor took bribes. And called off the demonstration. Did they take money?
You've made your point.
Did they take bribes to organize the strike action? Certainly, we should not vilify the organized labor and be able to push our country forward.
Now, it is a useless government that, if it is confronted with an issue, will be referring to its opponents' conduct in 7 or 8 years ago.
Why is that useless?
If Koko Buahi and Co. went around aiding and abetting the commission of a crime, because that's what he's trying to say, and I've put it, he's a lawyer.
But within the tenets of the law, did he aid and abet?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. If you tell people to go and encourage them,
because to be truthful, there is even another video, and this is the latest of Koko Buahi on YouTube.
That's what I'm saying.
That still go back.
That's what I'm saying. That if you are a government with all the machinery, and you think that people have committed crimes, and you cannot use the machinery to stop them, and you come and sit on national radio and blame your opponents 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and you are in your 8th year, then I think that you are not fit to be called a government, because you are supposed to act in the interest of the people. But the TUC, or the organized labor, have betrayed the trust of the people of this country.
Why?
And posterity will never forgive them, particularly the leadership of the organized labor.
Why?
There is what is called intergenerational equity. And that principle says that you should develop or transform your resources in such a way as to not to compromise the ability of future generations to be able to also exploit that resources. Now you have our resources being destroyed. Forest is being destroyed. Water bodies are being destroyed. The land is being destroyed. And you have decided to embark on demonstration so that the president will correct all these things. At the 11th hour, you chicken out. And I agree with the UCC professor that because these are very serious matters affecting the state, you should have at least gone for demonstration for a day, or if not a day, for 8 hours, so as to tell the government that it needs to wake up and deal with this menace. But what did they do? They chicken out. So future generations, yet unborn, will suffer from the menace, and that will be a case against them. They had all the opportunity to ensure government listens or government does the right thing. They failed. Now, this measure that the government has given, some are yet to even start. This issue of a bill going to parliament. What if government reneges on it? And this government has done so many of those things. Government have promised workers that they will pay their emoluments or whatever grievance they have. Then government reneges. Then workers go back on strike. This government is not noted for keeping its promise. That's the point I want to make. So you should have at least waited, and I'm talking to organized labor, to see that some of the things have kick-started. Because if you held the president's balls, this was the time for you to squeeze it, for him to ensure that he does what he said he would do when he told all of us that
this was the
time
to squeeze the president's balls.
Because he has told us that you put his presence on the line. That didn't change anything. But this was a clear opportunity. But knowing what they have done to this economy, and knowing that they have stashed money in their homes, and I can give you the case of the past case, these monies, and I can tell you these monies that they have stashed in their homes can literally buy every Ghanaian. And if you are a Ghanaian and you are not you don't have your cognitive abilities up there, you fall for some of these things. And I'm not surprised that the organized labor failed to live up to their expectation.
All right. Dr. Asante-Okyere, we know that there's a key issue of the Electoral Commission saying that they are going to do printing of ballots papers. So at the end of the day, the NDC said that they should hold on, etc. But then that also means that we're just closer to the election. If you take a look at all the events that have happened in the immediate past or just recently, it also means that the Electoral Commission is pushing forward. The election is closer than we think, 57 days. What do you make of all these events ushering us into the main election?
Well, before I go to that subject, in the studio, I think, I don't know.
Lawyer Afuakwa. Enoch Afuakwa.
Yes, the attempt by members of government or the assigns of government to exculpate Dr. Bawumia, from the mess that we all find ourselves, I think is disingenuous. And he said we should not politicize that. But you see, when you go on that tangent, telling us that, oh, Dr. Bawumia is bringing this, bringing that. I mean, you see, sometimes it's as if we don't really know what we are about. And it is just sometimes quite appalling. I have heard Dr. Bawumia and Ed Assign say that he is the best vice president ever to have happened. Okay, so if we have to agree to that, that's okay. But the point is that if we all find ourselves in a mess, spearheaded by the current government, of which you are the vice president, you cannot be the best vice president because you are part of the whole mess. The idea of that LI in itself, that was generated and applied, tells me that the entire government they are not committed to fighting Galamsey. Because when you were coming out with that particular proposition or that LI, what were you thinking? That these people were going to take their licenses and go and sleep? What were you thinking? And where were you thinking that they were going to work? Is it not the forest? Is it not? I mean, so sometimes you just don't get the genuineness of heart in some of the things that they do and say. We should all wait for the Bawumia to win the elections before we tackle this particular menace. I don't think that is good enough. The EC, I think that I listened to Johnny's Bite this morning, or I think in the news, it appears that the EC is saying that communication out there that they are about to print the ballot papers, I think that communication is false. They say it's inaccurate. So if that is the case, then it means that it is much ado about nothing. We do not have any issue at hand. But if that is not the case, then it's quite appalling, to say the least, that you do not have a final register, which you had promised the stakeholders that you're going to do so in the next 2 weeks or so. If you don't have that, on what basis do you tend to print the ballot? So you will see that day in, day out, you are creating more suspicion for yourself. And obviously, the main opposition, that is the NDC, will not allow this thing to slide. Especially they still don't have trust in the EC. Why? Because of the nature of the appointment that have been done over there. So it's as if they are always marking them boot for boot. And I think that in itself will ensure that we do have a free, a fair, and a transparent election. That, for me, is the way to go. So with respect to that particular question, I am inclined to accept the view that the EC says that that communication out there is false, and I want to subscribe to that. Other than that, I think that what the NDC is saying, it makes a lot of sense.
Afakwa, lawyer, what do you make of the EC's position now? It looks like we're going ahead. Over 40,000, is it 975?
Yeah, polling stations. Yeah, certainly. The EC has a constitutional mandate to organize elections in this country. And there is a constitutional injunction as far as the operations of the Electoral Commission is concerned, that the Electoral Commission cannot be subject to the control directions of any person in the line of its duties or in pursuing its mandate. So certainly once the Electoral Commission has its own calendar and schedules, I believe that the Electoral Commission engages political parties who are major stakeholders in these electoral processes. And in printing ballot papers, as has always been the ritual, the Electoral Commission conducts the statistics with the political parties as far as the number of ballot papers that will be printed per constituency in accordance with their due process is concerned. So the political party agents that will be at the various printing house of the Electoral Commission to monitor the printing of the ballot papers will know that this constituency we are printing, let's say, 20,000 ballot papers in excess of about 10% plus or minus, so that it will take care of some unforeseen circumstances and the likes. All these accounting or statistics are done ahead before the final start of the printing of ballot papers are concerned. And we in the New Patriotic Party are already waiting. We are waiting to see that the Electoral Commission pursues this mandate diligently in accordance with due process, as has always been the case, that they will go through with us the statistics of ballot papers that will be printed per every constituency, both parliamentary and presidential, because we are filing parliamentary, we have filed parliamentary candidates across all the 275 constituencies, and we are waiting that our parliamentary candidate becomes successful in these elections. An election is a process, and this process starts with the printing of ballot papers. And as far as accounting statistics and those details are concerned, the number of polling stations, now we have a release dated 10th October 2024, showing us from Mr. Tete, pointing towards the number of polling stations or registered polling stations of the Electoral Commission. And these are the findings that I believe the letter from the NDC was asking for. But they are preempting ahead of time that the Electoral Commission should stop. They should do A, they should do B, they should do C. These are things that the Electoral Commission do naturally, and we expect them to do. So when there is a statement coming from the Electoral Commission that they are not printing ballot papers now, they will have to go through with us in accordance with their due process and their mandate. Certainly, we are all for it, and we are waiting the time that they will invite us and they'll give us
the criticism is that the NDC is putting the cart before the horse.
The EC is an incorrigible, sneaky constitutional body.
Why?
The EC wrote a letter to the NDC, 9th October dated. Today is what, 10th, huh?
11th. 2 days ago.
2 days ago. And this is the title. Request for party agents for the printing of notice of poll and ballot papers. This is the issue. Let me skip paragraph 1 of their letter and go to paragraph 2. This comes to inform you that the Commission will commence printing of notice of poll and ballot papers for the 2024 general election from Friday 11th. Today is what?
Friday 11th.
You see the tips? 2024. Yeah? At the following printing press, and there are 8 of them. This is easy. Notice of poll and printing of ballot papers. Then you come back today, or yesterday, saying that, oh, it is notice of poll, but we are not printing ballot papers today. What kind of organization is this? They are thieves. I cannot use any other word.
What's your supposition why they decided to maintain only the notice of poll?
The reason is simple, and Afokwa is not following. You cannot have printing of ballot papers when you don't have a certified register. How many ballot papers are you going to print? Because your ballots must be in tandem with your register. You don't have that yet. And you know the issues we raised with them. They said they were correcting it. This week we wrote to them that they should give us the correction. They said no, they told us that it's 2 weeks. Sneaky organization. You know what sneaky? Find from the register. And you know what an incorrigible organization is? Check those words. It fits this organization. You don't do things this way. You cannot even do mathematics in your office. So if you don't, if that is even when there are definitive figures. There are definitive figures and you can't do the mathematics. Now you don't have definitive figures. How are you going to do the mathematics? When we were registering, there were close of day figures. Every day, close of day figures were definite. Even with the definite figures, you couldn't do mathematics. Now you don't know how many people are in one police station. Because the police...
Because of the discrepancies.
And you yourself admitted that there are dead bodies. Dead bodies. Dead people on the register.
Or even transfers made illegally.
Legally. So you need to deal with all this. And then recently, there was a court that asked some 1,000... You've not done all these things. And you are writing to us.
So what's your point? The NDC's position is that we should have had the corrected register out first before.
Exactly.
And then examined.
And then we know that. So if we ask the EC today, what is the number of voters on the 2024 register going to elections? Can they tell us? There are a bunch of... It's okay.
Breathe well.
Because they are human beings, I don't just want... They are so incompetent.
All right, so...
Is it deliberate? Is it deliberate? Is it deliberate what they are doing? And I heard good luck, Jonathan, and I want to disagree with you that the EC has the capacity to do the right things or the needful. They have the capacity, but we have people in there who are deliberately ensuring that the right things are not done. That's what good luck, Jonathan, should have spoken about. It's not good because he, Afuakwa, is a peace-loving person. I am a peace-loving person. I don't want to be carrying my luggage on my back, crossing the border. Afuakwa is better off being in opposition and staying in Ghana than carrying his luggage and his mattress at the back crossing. So why do you want to keep Afuakwa in power? By all means. The tide will change again. It's not the end of Ghana.
I don't know why. I don't know why you use Afuakwa in opposition carrying.
Why? The tide will always change.
Reminds me of the Rwandan bishop.
The tide will always. So why do you want to ensure that one political party,
Professor,
stays in power?
Senior can stay in opposition.
Dr. Asante Otri.
And Dr. Asante Otri was given.
And the nation will be in chaos.
Asante Otri was given some. What was he doing? Trying to hold brief for the EC that this letter has come to clear the air. Dr. Asante Otri, I've read you this letter. They call us for balloting to print ballot papers and notice of poll. And they even said it was going to start today. The balloting of printing of ballot papers is going to start today.
All right. Just a minute each of this. What do you make of this revelation that apparently the letter that was sent to the parties and the NDC through Amaliba, they have the copy, was supposed to have the two actions done together. And now we're only being told that it's only one action. It looks like this sort of, I don't know whether it's miscommunication or the posture of the EC tends to create the perceptions that are being espoused by Amaliba.
Roland, are you referring to me?
Yes, you. Just a minute, please. Okay. 60 seconds.
Yeah,
a lot of time.
It's quite revealing listening to Mr. Amaliba on this particular letter. I have never trusted the EC, and I think that over the period, they've not been able to prove themselves trustworthy. The only time that I started trusting them was especially the demonstration that they did, I think 2 years ago at the IPAC. And that equally came from the actions and the scrutiny of the NDC in a very responsible manner. And so I think that once you are aware that you cannot trust this particular EC, and Afrobarometer data that came showed that Ghanaians don't trust the EC. And so all you need to do is to mark them good for good. That for me is the only means by which you'll be able to ensure that whether you lose or you win, you will do that genuinely. And that is the best way to go. So they cannot in any way trust the EC, especially those who have even been appointed to head this particular place. It just does not exude that kind of confidence that Ghanaians will have in them. But by and large, I think that after that IPAC, I've given them that much respect. And I'm giving the NDC more respect, because if not for them, we wouldn't have had this particular register. But if you're putting the horse before the cart, the cart before the horse, I think that with respect to the EC, if indeed what Mr. Maliba is saying is a truism, then I think that they still don't have to be trustworthy. And they will have to ensure that they are vigilant with the processes before the elections are conducted.
Okay, 60 seconds for you too. It's all within your 60 seconds.
Doc, respectfully, you remember that the NDC told us that they have identified some 243,000 irregularities. During the IPAC meeting, were they able to produce even 10 of these irregularities that they told the whole people of this republic? The 15,000 transfer that has been done without a pathway and those kind of things. Were they able to establish all these things? You see, we have one country, and we cannot use political interest to destroy this beautiful country called Ghana. Let us leave the Electoral Commission to work in accordance with law. I believe should the Electoral Commission have written a letter to the NDC, and the NDC has any doubts about it, they might have communicated. I have a role to play as far as the workings of the Electoral Commission for my party is concerned. And I am not in the known of any such letter that has been sent to our party. So I believe that things must be done and must be done right. The Electoral Commission has issued an official communique.
Maliba, who is representing the NDC, is lying.
I cannot say he's lying.
So what are you saying?
I believe that due process must work. The EC has issued a notice. And the notice, this is not the first time the NDC is doing same. It's the first time NDC is doing same. The 243,000 irregularities. Were they able to establish that when the IPAC meeting was telecast live for all of us sitting at our various homes and offices to watch? The media were present, CSOs were present. Were they able to put that on the table? Certainly, we cannot continue in this tangent. The NDC knows that they are losing these elections. They know whether Dr. Bawumia is a weak candidate as being proposed by my learned senior here, Mr. Maliba, whether he's weak or not, the people of Ghana will decide. And I believe that the people of Ghana are voting for possibilities. They are voting for the bold solutions that will propel Ghana into the fourth industrial revolution. And they are not going for they are going for solutions that will be able to put our country ahead of others in the international system, that Ghana will be a nation of prosperity, wealth, and progress.
A minute.
Well,
I gave him 60 seconds.
Well,
Ghanaians, 30 seconds.
Yeah, Ghanaians don't wash their faces upside down. Ghanaians know the party that made life better for them. And Ghanaians would vote for John Dramani Mahama. The Ghanaians will not experiment again when they experimented with a driver, let alone a driver mate who has no license. So that one is a given. But what is more critical is the conduct of the Electoral Commission. And the Electoral Commission should have by now know that the NDC has got all its antennas up and surveilling. So by now they should have lowered their conduct of trying to be sneaky and trying to be incorrigible. Because from day one, the NDC was matching you boot for boot. Your mathematics, your simple mathematics, you can't. And when they catch them, then they say, oh, we were using choral draw. That's why the mathematics went wrong. Didn't we say that some names were deleted in the register? And they said that, oh, the names are not deleted. They are found in a...
Actually, we even opened the phone lines and got people who
and he's sitting there talking the way he's talking. We said that the names were deleted. And what they said was that, oh, no, the names can be found in a transfer list. The name can be found in the another list, transfer list and the something list.
Missing people's list.
No, it's a transfer list and...
there's a missing...
There's something, yes.
Or misplaced people.
Yeah, something list. And I asked myself, on the day of election, if you go to vote, are they going to be dealing with the register or they are going to be dealing with a transfer list? And you see, they would have trained, and I told you people here, they would have trained their agents to say that when somebody is going to the transfer list to find his name, oppose it. And that was the game plan. So, an EC that cannot do mathematics, an EC that has announced presidential elections more than 3 times, would you be trusting that EC?
All right.
When the next time that EC is going to conduct elections?
Okay.
This EC is
thank you very much. That's all of you.
EC.
And Mr. Afakwa as well. Thank you very much. Dr. Asante-Otre, thank you very much as well for coming to help us as this as well. You were saying something?
I think that when we go about saying that the NDC said the 240-something thousand irregularities here and there, I think that if the current status of the register is anything to go by, it is through the scrutinous eye of the NDC that has brought us this far. Because I ask myself, the MPP, you have an electoral directorate, you could not find any of these errors. Is it the case that it was going to benefit you or not? That is even beside the point. But I think that by and large, if you listen to the director of IT at EC when he was presenting, he accepted, right, most of the, if not all, most of the errors that they identified.
All right.
And accordingly, they had corrected.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Otre. Now, let me say happy birthday to Pakwesi Shandoff, journalist. And then also it's your birthday. So yesterday you celebrated your birthday. Happy birthday to you. I have a couple, about just 3 or 4 messages. This one is coming from Chairman Prosper, who says that looking at the situation of the Galamsey, with the president looking on and the utterances of his ministers and members of parliament, shows clearly that the status quo allowed people to pollute our water bodies and flout mining laws. So what are they doing? What they are doing is just cosmetic, a gimmick, just to create the situation and the atmosphere that something is being done. Now, Stephen Penn from WA says the measures being implemented shows that the president has already checked out. Very cosmetic. I like the way people are using cosmetic today. All right. Ghanaians need to have Galamsey banned. And then the last one is coming from Kofi Kwating-Ameni. Says, is Mr. Afakwa saying he and Dr. Baumia just resurfaced from Kosomokai? Why didn't they implement all these solutions now? And they say that an election will have to take place. And then let me say good morning to Richmond Sechi. You work with the whole technical university. Good morning to you as well. Hajia of the Sang Foundation in the northern Ghana area. Happy birthday to you. It's from your birthday and all those people also. Also, let's look at Dewa. Dewa 539 is your chance to win big with Dewa Direct and Dewa Chop Money. With Dewa Direct, dial *446#, pick up the range of the numbers, and then win big, 20 times, 400 times, as well as 40 times your stake, and win cash every evening at 7 p.m. and also on Sundays at 6 p.m. Early bet, they also love Dewa Chop Money. So that's also making sure that you down at 10 a.m., get the draw done, choose the range of the numbers 1 to 39 all throughout, and you can also play the game online. Dewa-nla.com is a site for you to get a log on to and play this succinctly. Please make sure that you increase your chances of winning. And then also landlord Borga D-Line also send the message wishing you all the best for the day as well. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more.